Today, let's watch a video about how technology isn't fun anymore. Because it really isn't. Like, the reason why I'm a massive geek is just because of the fact that I grew up with the fun tech boom of the 90s and early 2000s. So the reason why I'm a huge geek today, the reason I love technology, is because of the fact that I remember when technology was fun, of like the late 90s and early 2000s. Let's watch a video about that. Let's watch a video about how technology was way better back when I was growing up. Let's do that. Let's just check this out. Oh, whoops! It's the video's muted. Let me check. Calm down. What the fuck? Go back to 0. Yeah. Now we're doing it.
Hey guy, a couple weeks ago I was at an Airbnb trying to figure out what the $200 cleaning fee is supposed to cover if they're just gonna make me do a bunch of chores anyway, when we realized that episode 4 of Severance had just come out. And what great timing. This place had one of those beautiful 85-inch frame TVs that make it look like an art piece on the wall. They had surround sound, they had a telescope pointed at the TV. I couldn't imagine a more perfect place to watch what would turn out to be a slightly confusing episode of television. So we turn it on and instantly we're like, why does this look like shit? I know that this TV costs thousands of dollars, and yet the moment anything moves on screen, it turns into this jumbled, blurry mess. But of course, because this kind of thing has been happening for years, we knew it was because of True Motion, or Motion Plus, or whatever this TV calls that feature, where it smooths out every frame and makes everything you watch look like it was shot on an iPhone. The best thing about this feature is that it's always on by default, and nobody I've ever met likes it. It's also named something different by every manufacturer, which makes searching the menus for it a little adventure every time. Now, I know I'm not even close to being the first person to complain about this feature. It seems like everybody hates it. But that's also why it's so confusing to me. If so many people hate this, why after over a decade are TV manufacturers still forcing this down everyone's throats? How do they benefit from making their product look worse? I remember ecstatically buying this Samsung in 2019 and almost returning it because the default settings made it look so bad I thought it was defective. I just kind of sat there in denial about it for almost a week before being like, this can't be right. There has to be a setting I can change. Tragically though, a lot of people don't know about this setting. They don't realize their TV is actively sabotaging their viewing experience. And if this doesn't describe you, it probably describes someone you know. And by that, I of course mean your parents. So sit down with them, explain what's going on, tell them why you get a headache whenever you watch TV with them, and reiterate that it's not their fault. Show them this video by a guy named Noodle.
Let's say it's on twos. The AI doesn't smooth anything between the first and second frames of a single drawing because there's nothing to smooth. They're the same picture. This means that what was originally a perfectly fine 12 FPS animation is now a janky mess.
Or if they'd prefer to hear it from someone they know, have Tom Cruise explain it.
Video interpolation, or motion smoothing, is a digital effect on most high-definition television.
I'm Tom Cruise.
Just make sure they never find out about the whole Scientology thing. You cannot ruin Top Gun for your dad. That movie's very important to him. Now, I will admit, I was a little surprised reading some of the comments on this video, seeing so many people disagree. I didn't know people liked it when the $100 million movie they're watching looks like a soap opera. Now, I understand, of course, from a gaming perspective, people preferring higher frame rates, but I don't think that logic applies to movies. Games are interactive, so generally the smoother something is, the more responsive it feels. But you're not interacting with the movie, you're just watching. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. In fact, I think part of what makes a movie look like a movie is the sort of ethereal nature it has. It doesn't look exactly like the way the world around you does through your own eyes, and I don't think it should. I saw someone say they like it because it shows the flaws in movies you couldn't see at 24 FPS, and it's like, no, the interpolation is creating those flaws. It's not reverting a film back to its original settings. It's not a director's cut your TV's giving you private access to. It's just generating new frames based on what it thinks should go in between the existing ones. That's where the errors come from. You're not watching a more authentic version of a movie because Sony Motion Flow added a bunch of blurry auras around every fast-moving object. The most authentic version of a movie is watching it the way it was filmed. You shouldn't have to change anything. And I think more than anything else, that's what really aggravates me about this feature, is the hubris of it. There are so many deliberate choices that go into making a movie look a certain way. There's so many people involved in those decisions that know way more about cinematography than I do, so I trust their vision. Why can't TV manufacturers do the same? Why do they look at a beautifully shot television show like it has a problem that they need to fix? Anyway, this experience got me thinking about new technology in a more general sense and how my excitement towards it has waned over time. Sometimes it seems like we kind of already figured everything out. You can communicate with anyone in the world instantaneously. You have immediate access to every piece of music ever made. You can pay some guy to deliver a cold burrito straight to your door and it only costs $70. This is the peak of humanity, baby. There's nowhere else to go from here, except backwards. So many things now seem to just invent a new problem so they can sell you the solution. Or if we do create something novel and revolutionary, it's only gonna stay that way long enough for us to kill all our competition, allowing us to ruin our thing and make it infinitely more expensive.
There was a time where streaming services seemed like the final frontier of at-home entertainment, a marriage of cost and convenience that made all previous options obsolete. I mean, my DVDs are just taking up space, and even if I wanted to watch something, I gotta get up, dust off my Xbox, navigate a bunch of menus, switch discs every 4 episodes. Netflix is so much better than this. Until, of course, they quadrupled their price and got rid of every show you ever wanted to watch. So slowly but surely, a lot of people are moving away from the unreliable streaming services and going back to physical media. Things like Blu-rays, vinyls, tooth tunes. And I've actually begun that migration process myself. But because I'm incredibly stupid, here's how it's going for me so far. I started watching Friday Night Lights for the first time in December. It was something I had wanted to watch for years but always put off, which is crazy because it's a show about football, which I like, with a bunch of music from Explosions in the Sky, a band I grew up listening to all the time. It kind of felt like they made this show specifically for me, and still I was like, I'll get around to it eventually. It wasn't until a couple of months ago that I finally gave it a chance and got really into it. 12 days before it was going to be removed from Netflix. For the last 2 weeks of December, I binged as much of the show as I could, as quickly as I could, until around 3 a.m. on New Year's Eve. 13 minutes left in the season 2 finale. I was given an abrupt error message telling me that my beloved show was now gone. At this point, I was pretty invested, and I didn't just want to wait until it was maybe on Peacock one day, and I certainly didn't want to spend $2 per episode to digitally own it. So I decided what better time than right now to begin my brand new Blu-ray collection, starting naturally with a show I had yet to watch even half of. So about $37 and 8 days later, my Blu-rays show up at my door and I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to see how season 2 ends. So I pop the disc in my computer, try to play it, and it does not work. Turns out the external DVD drive I bought a couple years ago isn't compatible with Blu-rays, so I'm gonna have to buy another one. No problem, what's another $110? Jesus Christ. Well, I already bought the Blu-rays, I'm not gonna not watch them. So I bite the bullet on the Blu-ray drive. It shows up 2 days later, pop it into my computer, so excited to learn what will become of Brian Smash Williams. Huh, that's weird. Doesn't seem to work on VLC. Or the Any DVD app. I guess I could spend $20 on Blu-ray player, play Blu-ray, but that one says in its description that it doesn't play Blu-rays. At this point, I'm a little frustrated, but even more than that, I'm confused. So I go where I always turn to in times of crisis, a Google search with the word Reddit thrown onto the end. And believe it or not, even on Reddit, home of some of the most dedicated people on the planet, every single answer I see is, nah man, Power DVD 23 Essential is your only option. There is one way to watch Blu-rays on your computer, and it is with this app. You wanna know how much that app costs? $80. And it's like, I don't want to spend another $80, but I've already spent more than that just to make it to this point. I have to see this through to the end. Anyway, I bought the app, and it works most of the time. Although I should probably say it's been doing this thing now where it tells me my cloud subscription has expired and I need to visit the Cyberlink members zone for more information. So, money well spent. Long story short, I spent $227 to watch a show that I could have seen on Netflix at any point over the past 7 years. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if I like it that much. Also, I know what you're thinking. Drew, couldn't you have just put the Blu-rays into your PS5, you moron? Yes, I could have. But the whole point of watching it on my computer was so I could second screen RuneScape on my other monitor. What part of dopamine addiction do you not understand?
Sorry, that was more of a story about my own incompetence than a rant about the state of technology. So here's a rant about the state of technology. I live in Orlando, Florida. My favorite basketball team is the Orlando Magic. They play basketball 20 minutes from my house, and I am not allowed to watch them on TV because I live too close. I can sign up for NBA League Pass and watch any other team play except for the one in my city because of blackout restrictions. What do you think, I'm stalking them or something? Whoa, this guy's obsessed. He lives right down the street. I don't understand this restriction, and frankly, I never will. Is the point to incentivize me to buy a ticket to go see them in person? They play 41 home games a year. Am I supposed to go to all of them? And if that was the point of it, they wouldn't also black out road games unless you expect me to travel with the team. Guys, do you want me to follow them around or not? I'm getting mixed signals here. Anyway, here's what I've had to do the past 6 years as a paying customer in order to watch my team play. First, I had to sign up for Sling TV because they were the only ones with the Fox Sports Florida channel. Then those two couldn't reach an agreement, so I had to switch to Fubo TV because they were the only ones with the Fox Sports Florida channel. Then those two couldn't reach an agreement, so I had to switch to YouTube TV. Can you guess where this is going? Yeah, they couldn't reach an agreement, and now I can't watch it anywhere, this time in the middle of a season. So out of desperation, I sign up for NBA League Pass, which again prohibits me from watching my team because I live too close. The workaround here is using a VPN to change my location to somewhere else. So now I'm paying for 2 different services just so I can watch the least popular team in the NBA. Adam Silver should be ecstatic that there are freaks like me out here. He should have a photo of me in his office that says #1 customer. So what do they do to thank me for my loyal patronage? Block the use of VPN 6 months later. Do you guys want my money or not? I'm trying so hard to give it to you. Okay, now we're in 2022, and finally, there's a streaming app specifically made for people to watch their local team play. It's a miracle. It's called Bally Sports, and it is the worst app I've ever used in my life. It freezes during commercials. The feed cuts out constantly, especially in the 4th quarter. Not that I wanted to watch that part anyway. It refuses to remember my login information in between games. Did I mention they play 82 of these every year? I'm getting real tired of typing in my password every night. While all of this is happening, behind the scenes, Bally's parent company is not doing so well. They lose over $1.2 billion in 3 months. What, were they setting it on fire? Fast forward a few more months to 2023, and Bally is filing for bankruptcy. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Nope, they're still going. Somehow. Turns out I don't know what bankruptcy actually means. What I do know is that this probably doesn't bode well for the growing list of technical problems they apparently don't have the money to address. So that brings us to today, where after 3 tumultuous years, I'm excited to report that the app is now a little bit more reliable. But also it's been rebranded to the FanDuel Sports Network, which means every second of every broadcast is pretty much just one big ad for gambling. I should make a video about that. I know that this is one very specific gripe about a very specific problem, but I feel like there's so many things like this now. So many companies that seem to get their rocks off from making us have to jump through hoops in order to do anything. They're constantly...
And this is why people like me get on here and just be like, look, I love the fact that Drew is trying to do this, but again, it comes off as someone who is desperately drinking the Kool-Aid of capitalism because of the fact that the dude just cannot ever get to the point of going, just pirate. If they're gonna make it this hard to watch your local sports teams, at a certain point, when do you just get the point of just going, piracy's better? Right? Like, I mean, at a certain point, this is why there are videos online that talk about how piracy is better because of the fact that, like, yeah, no, if capitalists are going to make it that hard to access their product and services, just give them the big middle finger. Give them the double dose. Give them the double dose. And sail the high seas. You know, yar, har, fiddly-dee, and all that stuff, right? give them the double dose and put on your beard, put on your peg leg, put on your eye patch, and join us on the high seas. Is all I'm saying.
Merging with some other company so they can both be sold to a third company. Content bounces around from streaming service to streaming service like a hot potato. We tried to streamline everything and only made it more complicated. I can't keep up. I'm just a lowly consumer. Everything's so confusing now. I need a break. An ad break. Let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Hi, I'm the youngest I'll ever be, and I'm here to tell you about today's sponsor, SoFi. I know you've all heard me talk about SoFi before, the all-in-one finance app helping you bank, borrow, and invest, but you've never heard me say these words, SoFi Plus. SoFi Plus is a brand new financial membership that unlocks $1,000 plus in value. I'm talking double reward points, 3% cash back on hotels, loan discounts, unlimited one-on-one meetings with financial planners. All of that and so much more for just $10 a month or for no cost when you sign up with direct deposit. To celebrate this groundbreaking moment, SoFi is giving away a total of $600,000 to help 6 winners achieve their ambitions. Money towards a home, a retirement, a dream vacation, or one of the 3 other things on the screen behind me. Sign up for SoFi Plus to be entered for a chance to win, and you can even earn additional entries for every friend that you refer. So head to SoFi.com/Drew, scan the QR code on the screen, or click the link in the description to learn more about SoFi Plus and enter for a chance to win. Thank you so much to SoFi for sponsoring today's video, and thank you to you, the viewer, for listening to me. I know you could have skipped through this section if you wanted to, but you didn't. And I'll always appreciate that. Now back to the video. I know that part of the feeling I'm about to describe is just because of my diminished sense of wonder as I've aged, but I feel like there used to be a time when technology was a lot more exciting to me. I mean, what could be more fun than a gadget? Well, besides a gizmo, of course. But it seemed like most things that came out had a genuine purpose, that there was more of a collective desire to push humanity forward, to provide solutions to actual problems. And I know that this is all still happening, but it seems like so many innovations now are just new ways to manipulate people, or spy on people, or replace people altogether. I'm not excited about what might be created in the future as much as I'm fearful of it. I'm fearful of what AI is threatening to do to every job on Earth. I'm fearful of all these humanoid robots that keep popping up. What if one of them tries to kill me? Or worse, what if we fall in love? How am I supposed to explain that to people? For every OLED Steam Deck and surprisingly powerful tiny Mac computer, there seem to be 10 wearable AI companions, or a TV that's free because it never stops showing you ads, or what if you could wear your phone on your head so it could never stop showing you ads? I remember when touchscreen smartphones came out, and I practically started drooling at the idea. This device, which I hate more than anything in the world, is incredible. It's truly amazing what this thing is capable of, but now the question is, where do you go from here? The jumps in phone technology have become pretty unnoticeable, despite how hard they're trying to get us to notice them. When we went from landlines to cell phones, that was crazy. When they added a full keyboard so you didn't have to spend 30 seconds typing one word, that was crazy. And then they added email, and a really good camera, and a touchscreen, and a GPS, and the internet, and a compass, and now you can pay for parking on here, and you can download apps that stop you from spending too much time on other apps. Oh man, that line's really starting to slow down, huh? And this phone costs 4 times as much as this one did? No, that makes sense. If you Google "has technology peaked," their AI overview will tell you, no, of course not. I'm getting stronger every day. And consider this your second strike, Drew. That's awfully ominous. And what was my first? No, of course technology hasn't peaked, but it does feel like it's starting to level off a bit. The improvements between video game consoles used to be astronomical. Now I end up on a side-by-side comparison video, squinting as hard as I can trying to spot any difference. In 1995, video games looked like this. 10 years later, they look like this. 10 years after that, they look like this. And in the 10 years since, they look like, Wait, which one is a new one? And I know I'm viewing this from a consumer standpoint. I'm completely oblivious to the strides being made in medicine and science and interplanetary defense mechanisms. But it just seems like whenever a new thing comes out, we have to pay a lot for very little. Technology has gone so far in the wrong direction that people are now trying to find ways to go back. Physical media is making a comeback. Dumb phones are making a comeback. As people become more disillusioned to the future that was promised to us, the best way to break out of it is to recapture a sense of simplicity. And not all of this is just nostalgia. I think some of it speaks to the fundamental difference in how things are made now. You used to be able to own things. Now almost everything is borrowed. You're not buying a product, you're subscribing to a service. I don't own a bunch of music because I'm paying Spotify every month. I'm just temporarily given access to music until I stop paying and then have nothing to show for it. And even if you do buy a physical product, there's no guarantee it's gonna stay in the condition it was in when you bought it. A lot of things now can be remotely updated or even deactivated. The Spotify car thing completely bricked when they stopped wanting to deal with it. A few months ago, Roku forced an update onto all of their TVs, making it so you can't turn the motion smoothing feature off. This company just announced they're gonna start charging a monthly fee so anyone who already bought their thermostat can continue to use it. We're buying things that can be made worse or taken away from us whenever the manufacturer feels like it. So what are we even buying anymore? These things aren't designed to last because the entire economic system in this country is based on perceived shareholder value. If I sell you a product that you only have to buy once and then get to keep it forever, how will I get more money from you in the future? How will line keep go up if transaction over? So things break or become obsolete. A lot of tech devices are more
Isn't it amazing how everything always goes back to capitalism being fucking shit as an economic model? Yeah, I just want you guys to focus in on that as he's complaining, and just focus in on the fact that all of these complaints, they all go back to capitalism being a fucking bit ass, broke ass, fucking economic model. And that all of these things could be fixed by the wonders of socialism and communism. All of these complaints would go away. They would just disappear if we all could just come together and embrace the warm arms of socialism and communism.
affordable than they used to be, but they're also more disposable. The interface on your 4-year-old smart TV suddenly takes 10 times longer to navigate. Your iPhone 12 suddenly crashes 5 times a day. No, we're not doing that on purpose. But it does kind of seem like a sign that it's time to buy a new one, right? And this isn't a conspiracy or an exaggeration. Technology is making us dumber. Rarely, while using your phone, are you in the driver's seat, except when you're texting while driving, which is a lot of fun. But it's mostly a passive activity. More often than not, you don't open an app in order to do a specific thing. You open an app and just see whatever it chooses to show you. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. Either way, the past hour of your life was entirely decided by an algorithm. You're not thinking for yourself, you're not making a decision for yourself, you just turn off your frontal cortex and submit to whatever Mark Zuckerberg has curated for you. And the more we're conditioned to accept this relationship, the easier it is to sell us an AI agent that does all of our thinking for us and that we learn to trust implicitly. I mean, how am I supposed to be excited about technology when this is the direction we're headed in?
It seems like everything is slowly trying to turn into everything else. A new app will come along with one specific niche use and then inevitably get turned into yet another form of social media. Like the Shop app. I've been using this for a couple years because I like the idea of having one account that works across multiple websites. But now, of course, it's just like another thing designed for you to scroll through. I open it up to see how far away my pants are, and it's like, oh hey, you want to buy something else while you're here? You want some Alpha Lion Superhuman Hulk juice? What about Goof juice? Chug juice? Oh, I know what you want. a little cake shaped like Texas. They also give you rewards, but it amounts to virtually nothing and is really just an excuse to send you more push notifications. Hey, don't forget to use that 14-cent credit before it runs out. It only works on this website that sells hoodies for dogs. You open up the Ring app so you can see who's knocking at your door, and they're like, hey, you wanna see this funny video of a goat? Venmo defaults to the page showing you how many of your friends had pizza this week. Why do I need to know that? I bought that light in the corner a few months ago, and the only way to control it is through an app. And you're probably thinking, certainly there's no social media aspect to an app that turns lights on and off, and that might just be the dumbest thing you've ever said. Of course it has its own news feed and hashtags. Of course there's a pop-up telling me to take the Govee app user experience survey so I can earn 50 Govee points and a chance to win Govee merch. App is a goddamn joke now. Worst change to an app that could ever happen. Can't even remember my dream view settings anymore. May as well check all my lights and bin if this is only way to control them. What a joke. Well, I wanted to respond to this comment saying that I'm just here for the Govee points, hashtag Govee rewards program, but that feature is only available to savvy users. So I agreed to the savvy terms and conditions, and they congratulated me on becoming a savvy user. You're following all of this, right? Instagram has its own TikTok feature. Twitter has its own TikTok feature. And you probably guessed this because you'd never make the same mistake twice. The Govee app has its own TikTok feature. Everything is the same thing, and I'm tired of it. These apps are all so intent on monopolizing your time that they'll design it in a way that makes it hard for you to leave. You click a YouTube link on the Facebook Messenger app, and instead of just taking you there, it'll be like, oh, I guess you want to open that app instead, huh? All right, here's a button. It doesn't work though. No, I'm just kidding. It will work if you click it 15 times. And then it will take you to the App Store so you can open the homepage of YouTube and just search for that video yourself. Was that helpful? Good, it wasn't supposed to be. I just noticed the desktop Instagram website has incorporated that thing that's supposed to prevent you from accidentally exiting out of like a checkout screen or a form you're halfway through filling out. But they're just using it anywhere on their website. Literally scrolling through the homepage, I try to leave, they grab my arm and say, no, are you sure you're done with us? We were just about to show you a really cool ad. Are you sure you don't want to see what it looks like? Sometimes I feel like you don't even like me anymore. It's no wonder so many people are trying to turn the clock back on technology and return to a simpler era. Not so far back that you gotta like eat bugs and sleep on a log, but just back to when these modern conveniences were still exciting and didn't feel so predatory and manipulative. Technological advancements don't feel fun anymore because of the motivations behind so many of them. It doesn't feel like we're trying to make life better when almost everything is designed to be as addictive as possible. These things aren't supposed to be fun additions to your life. They're supposed to be a new thing for your life to revolve around. And no amount of profit or growth will ever be enough. It seems like there's more thought put into how you can continue to charge people for something they already own than to just expand the
Again. It's almost as if this goes back to capitalism. It's almost as if this goes back to capitalism being a shit-ass, broke-ass, bullshit-ass fucking economic model, and that a genius known as Karl Marx already came up with a way to solve all these problems. If only people listened to him instead of demonizing him and propagandizing people against reading his goddamn book.
The experience of it in the first place. But hey, at least we're using all that extra revenue to pay the employees, right? Right? Sorry, I'm doing that thing again where I try to provide catharsis by ranting in a critical yet lighthearted fashion, but just end up spreading more negativity in the process. So I'd like to end this video by highlighting some technological innovations that I'm thankful for.
Number one, fiber internet. In 2018, we lived in a house where it would take me 2 hours to upload a 15-minute YouTube video. And during that time, no other device in the house could connect to the internet because I was using all of it. Now I get like 2 gigs per second and it never goes out. That's a luxury I know I take for granted. Now I should probably say that AT&T almost electrocuted me when they were digging in our front yard, burst into a water pipe, flooded half the neighborhood, and knocked down a power line, leaving live wires dangerously close to the newly installed moat they surprised me with. But they did offer me a $1 credit when I called to complain. So I wish I was joking about that. They destroyed our lawn and then offered $1 single as an apology. And you know what? They're still not as bad as Spectrum. Number 2, our Nespresso machine. This is the world's greatest invention. It's all the convenience of a Keurig, except it doesn't taste like burnt garbage, and you can actually send the pods back when you're done to have them recycled. I mean, allegedly. They probably just throw them in the ocean like I do. I can't believe these pods are only moderately more expensive than K-Cups. They taste 100 times better, and you don't have to wait 45 minutes for it to cool off. Side note, how much money do you think Sabrina Carpenter turned down to not do a collaboration with them? They had to have asked, right? That's that mean espresso? It was right there. What are you guys waiting for? Some stupid YouTuber to promote your shit for free? Never gonna happen, bozo. Number 3, electric razors. Why was I scraping the shit out of my face for so long? These things aren't just better, but they're cheaper in the long run because you don't have to change the blades all the time. And I can use it on my balls.
Oh, was that it? It was just the 3 things? Sorry, I thought I'd have more time to think of an outro here. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want. As always, YouTube gives me $100 for every new subscriber, which I like.
So, yeah, no. It's almost as if every one of his complaints can just be levied at the feet of capitalism being shit. And that if we could just move right along to socialism and eventually communism, we could fix all of these things. But nope. Too many people are propagandized to believe that capitalism is the best, is the best economic model ever created, God's gift to humanity, and all of that. So, hey, guess what? Shit's just gonna keep getting worse and 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 worse until we're all dead. Because nobody's willing to change a goddamn thing and actually embrace things that can make their lives better. They would rather embrace the things that make their lives worse than embrace the things that make their lives better. That's great.